gentlemen, and welcome to the Danvers Zoning Board of Appeals. If I could ask you all to either silence your cell phones or turn them off so we're not disturbed. I'd like to introduce the zoning board members. To my right, we have Jeff Sauer, Becky Kilborn. Our clerk tonight is Ken Scholes. Myself as the chair, John Bowner, and Ken Jarvinen, and Corrine Doherty is our alternate down the end. From the planning department, we have Georgia Pendergrass over there. And is anyone online with us tonight, David, or anyone?
No.
No, okay. Members, we have minutes from the June 27th meeting that were sent out. Is there any further discussion on those minutes?
Motion to accept.
Hearing none, I have a motion
I'll second.
and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Folks, we're on cable broadcast, and so our process works like this. Our clerk will read your case. We have a packed agenda tonight because we're on our summer schedule. At that point, we'd ask you to come up to the podium, identify yourself, your address, present your case to us. From there, it'll come back to the zoning board, and we will ask questions. And from that point, we will send it out to the public if anyone would like to be heard, whether in favor or not. Again, come to the microphone, identify yourself and your address, and at that point, we'll return to the board for a deliberation, a public deliberation, so you can hear how your vote may take. And at that point, we'll give you your options and let you know, how we would move forward from there. And I think that's it. If anyone needs an agenda, we're going to jump a little bit. We have a withdrawn case we're going to get done with first. We'll go to our continued case, which we have one, and then we will come from the regular items down. Did I hit it all?
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, if we could.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our first case is 29 Andover Street, zoned Route 114, requesting a use variance from Table 1 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow a recreational entertainment sports facility, indoor axe throwing, in the Route 114A zoning district where it is otherwise prohibited. Request is made by 29 Andover, Route 114 Realty LLC, Kelly Rhoda, docket 22-4986.
And I think we're in receipt of a letter.
Yes, we received an email today around 2:50 p.m. from Kelly Rhoda, who was the applicant, and she has requested to withdraw the application at this time.
Thank you, Georgia. Okay, we have a request to withdraw. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll go to the top to our continued case.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. 38 North Belgian Road, this is zoned R2, requesting a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow a new 16-foot by 24-foot garage with a side setback of 7.5 feet, where 15 feet is required. Request is made by William and Nancy Libby, docket 22-4980.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You could just adjust that mic up so they can hear you at home.
Bill and Nancy Libby, 38 North Belgian Road.
We all received an updated drawing from you,
Yes.
and maybe you could just give us a brief update, and we'll ask some questions.
For the comments from last month's meeting, we made some adjustments to the location of the garage. We slid it back and slid it over away from the property line, so it's 7.5 feet from the overhang.
It looks like that moved it away from your patio too. I think that was your concern.
Yep.
Okay, so that's about it. You haven't changed the size of the garage.
No,
You
nothing
just-
else has
You
changed.
just put it further to the rear of the lot and
Right.
have maintained the 7.5 feet.
Right.
All right, anything else?
That's it.
Okay, I'll open it up to questions. Green, I'm gonna start with you.
I don't have any questions. I think it looks great. It's in a much better location than it was before. Thank you.
Very
No
good.
questions.
Ken?
I was just gonna ask what you did with the was there an issue with an electrical underground electrical line or something that you were worried about before?
Yeah, right on the corner of the patio, there's a knee wall
Okay,
on the corner of the patio, and there's a hot tub there. There's a 50-amp line coming off the house, goes onto right at the corner.
Yep.
So where it was placed last time, you know, if you're gonna put a footing in or whatever, you know, although the wall's only 8 inches and the footing's 16 inches, you know, the ditch is gonna be 6 feet wide.
yep.
So I'm afraid I didn't wanna undermine the corner of the patio or get anywhere near that 50-amp line
So,
and have to do it again or have a contractor mash it up, you know what I mean? So it's a lot easier just to slide the location back. That way I can get the 7.5 feet off the property line.
so you're far enough back where that's to code and stuff, and that doesn't, yeah, that doesn't, I mean, you're far away enough from that line,
A
right?
little
So
further
everything's
away,
fine.
probably 15 more feet back, but that really doesn't make a difference.
Cool, thanks.
Also? Ken?
I have no questions, thank you.
And Becky?
So you were gonna take the shed down anyway, so
Yep.
now you're definitely taking the shed down. 'Cause
yeah.
the Garage on top.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. And Jeff?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for listening to the board's request.
Thank you, Jeff. And I too, I think it's pretty straightforward what you've done. You've set it about half the setback, which is what we were looking for, and you pushed it back, so. I will go out to the public. Is there anyone here to speak on 38 North Belgian Road? Sure.
Hey, good evening. My name is Patricia Baker, and I live at 100 Kirkbride Drive, Unit 215A. I'm here to speak in support of the Libby's request for the zoning variance to build their garage. They're longtime Danvers residents. They've raised their 3 children here and graduated from Danvers High School. They were active parent volunteers. Now they're retired. We love being retired. Mr. Libby enjoys working on his motorcycles, getting them ready for his road trips, but the current garage space just doesn't give him the room to do that. And so he's trying to enjoy his property and do his hobby on his property. And I believe the town should grant this variance. As a town, we focus on the needs of the families, and some families are retired seniors. So we need to allow homeowners to modify their homes and property as they age so they can remain Danvers residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else here on 38 North Belgian?
Hi, I'm Sylvain DeMarco. I'm the neighbor right behind them,
What's your address, please?
33 North Shetland.
Thank you.
And I have absolutely no problem with the garage. I'm glad he's doing it, so that's it.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else here from the public on 38 North Belgian? Hearing none, okay, I'll come back and we will deliberate. Karina, start with you.
I will vote for this. I do want to have a provision that this garage only be used for residential and not for business or any type of commercial purpose.
So you'd like a condition.
Yes.
Are you willing to accept that condition?
I don't have a problem with that.
I'm sorry?
I'm not running a business. It's just a garage.
I think you're saying yes.
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 Okay.
Sorry, I can't.
That's okay.
I couldn't hear you.
Ken?
I'll vote for this, too.
And Ken?
Yeah, I'll vote for this. Thank you for the new plan. I think that's a great spot for it.
Becky?
I'll vote for this. Thank you.
And Jeff?
I will vote for this.
I too will vote for this. I think you listened to our concerns, and I think this will work out pretty good. So could I get a motion, please?
I move to issue a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow a new 16 by 24 garage with a side setback of 7.5 feet, where 15 feet is required. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot and the location of the existing structures on the lot. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw. And we have one condition, that the new garage be used only for residential use and no business use.
I will second that.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next case is 6 Algonquin Road, zoned R3. Request for a variance after the fact from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow a 20-foot by 30-foot addition with a side setback of 13.3 feet, where 13.5 feet was originally granted. Request is made by Sarah Laporto, docket 22-4983.
It looks like Sarah's joining us online. Okay. Good evening, Sarah. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you fine.
And the good thing is we can hear you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead and tell us what we have in front of us here.
Okay, well, I wanted to say thank you first for granting the original decision, which allowed us to create an EFLA for my parents. It's perfect. One floor for my dad who has Parkinson's. Just to cut it short, due to an error somewhere, I have to believe, with respect to the site and foundation contractor, you know, to our tape measure, it was 20 by, well, a little less than 30. And when we received our as-built plan, unbeknownst to us, instead of the 13.5, which was the original reduced setback that was permitted on the side, we found that it was 13.3. So we're here before you to say, sorry. And hopefully, you know, we can get this to pass.
Okay, and so the error was discovered from the building inspector?
And part of the building inspector's process is to receive an as-built, and we had our surveyor come back out to prepare the as-built, and it was 13.3 and not 13.5.
Okay, is that it? Do you have anything else you want to present?
That's all.
Okay, I'm going to open it up for questions. Jeff?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Becky?
I know your parents are in there, and I have no questions.
No questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
No questions.
And Kareem?
I have no questions either.
I don't have any questions either. It seems like somewhere somebody didn't sharpen their pencil. I'm not sure where the error lies. I'll go out to the public on this. This is for 6 Algonquin Road. Is anyone here to speak on this case? Hearing none, I will come back to the board, and Jeff, I'll go to you.
I will vote for this.
I will vote for this.
I will vote for this. I guess it's measured twice, cut once, right?
Ken?
I'll vote for this too.
Kareem?
I will vote for this as well.
I too as well. I see this as a very minor error. Could I get a motion, please?
I move to issue a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow an existing 20 by 30 addition with a side setback of 13.3, where 15 feet is required. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I will second that.
I've got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You've got it. Good luck.
Good luck, Sarah.
Thank you all so much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next case is 5 Dartmouth Street, zoned R3, requesting a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow a new 24-foot by 12-foot garage with a side setback of 15.7 feet, where 20 feet is required. Request is made by Frederick and Eileen Millman, docket 22-4984.
Anyone here on 5 Dartmouth? Yeah, come on up. Good evening.
Good evening.
Tell us what you'd like to do.
What we'd like to do is put, next to the current building, we have 12-foot, it's actually 25 feet straight across, not 12, not 24. So that's
I'm
one.
sorry, 25, is that what you said?
25, yes, because we wanted to go from wall to wall on the side. Won't affect the setback on the front. There was a reason for that. I wanted to make sure that it was flush with the back of the building, because I had several contractors come down, and we were aware that there may be a water problem going into the next, the neighbor's yard. So I had a full drainage system put in within the last couple months, and also contacted several of the contractors about putting gutters on the back and on the front of the new dwelling, of the garage. So that's one issue that we addressed. The other thing was the roof line. We have a copy of that on the side of the house, and the roof will basically be an extension of the current roof that's there. So there won't be any major change on that. It'll be the same height, and it'll go directly across 12 feet.
So you're really just extending one side of your house, same height, same look.
Correct.
I think you just said a gutter in the rear only. The only difference is that drawing shows 24 feet, but you're saying it's actually 25.
Yes.
And does that include an overhang?
There is no overhang.
There is no
I
overhang.
asked all the contractors about that. You can see in the picture that I have, that I gave Georgia, this is the side of the house. There's 2 windows there currently. I'll be taking those, we had the house renovated last year, and we
Yeah,
put the
it's up here on
vinyl
the
siding.
street.
Yes, that's it. We put the vinyl siding and the windows on, and decided that it was the garage would be attached to this, and that these 2 windows, one will go on the side towards the other house, and one will go in the back. And that's it. It's basically, you can see it down right here. I will attack a 500-gallon dry well.
Okay.
That'll also prevent any type of
Sounds
water.
like you've done your homework here.
Oh, I believe I have, yes.
Okay, anything else you want to add before I open it up for questions?
No, sir. That's
Very good. I believe I started with you, Jeff, so let's go to Corinne.
Do you have any drawings of what the addition to the house or where the garage is going to look like?
No, I haven't done that yet. I plan on doing that if the board gives me the approval to go ahead with this. That's the first thing I'll do, will be get the architect to come down, do the building plans, and make sure everything is perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
Ken?
I have no questions.
Thank you, and Ken?
Thank you. Mr. Chair, through you, Georgia, he can just sign off on that extra foot on the plot plan?
Exactly.
Keep the
As
same
long as
plan?
that, the setback the board votes on tonight is the same.
That's all I have, thank you.
Becky?
So I did go out there, you have like a canvas garage there?
Yes.
And so
It's
it
a
appeared
canopy.
to me that that's even closer to the lot line than where the new garage would be, or is that approximately the same?
It's 12 feet. It's exactly 12 feet.
The garage is 12 feet?
No, the canopy,
I mean, the canvas
yes.
is
I
12
did
12
that to
feet.
protect my car. I always have nice
Okay.
cars.
But it's way over from the house, so actually the addition would be...
It's probably 4 feet away from the house.
Okay, okay.
That'll
I
be
have no-
gone.
No other questions, thank you.
Thank you. Jeff?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Mr. Millman, the only questions I have, I know you have 2 sheds in the rear. The building department does not have any record of permits on those. Were permits pulled for either of those sheds?
They had those done about 10 years ago. Well, one was about 5 years ago. And I made sure that the setback was, past the 20 feet. It was like 23 feet from the back of the property
Well,
line.
it definitely looks that, but, permits did need to be pulled on.
Well, I had assumed that the permits were pulled from the companies that put the 2 sheds up.
Yeah, there's nothing on record. Okay, well, that answers my question. Anything else? Okay, I will go out to the public. Is anyone here to speak on 5 Dartmouth Street? Yeah, come on up. Identify yourself and your address, please.
Thank you. I'm the neighbor of the Frey and Eileen. This is not an opposition.
Could I get your name and address?
Oh, my name is, okay. My name is Hong Chang So, and I live in the 7 Dartmouth Street, which
7
is the
Dartmouth, okay.
neighbor of the Frey and Eileen.
Okay.
I know Frey, they need a garage. And this is not an opposition. I just want to make sure what's the purpose of the 20 feet requirement.
So in
Because,
that,
because I don't know what's the requirement for. Could you explain to me?
sure, that is zoned R2, correct? R3. And then R3 in the Town of Danvers side setback requirement. So he's asking to go closer than the required setback.
Sure. It's nothing to do with the security,
I think
like a safety issue, right?
he's trying to ask why the setback is 20 feet.
It's part of our town bylaw.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
it's part of, so it's every R3 property, it's R3, correct?
Say every
so
property has
the reason to make the requirement is not the safety issue or something.
No, different zones just have different setbacks, and it's required of every R3 property in town.
Okay, yeah, I just want to make sure.
Not specific to Dartmouth Street, anywhere there's R3.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's nothing to do with the
No.
safety. Yeah, okay,
Your property is under the same requirement.
yes,
Yeah.
I understand that.
So
Okay.
he's asking to go a little closer to the property line than we allow. So it's this board's judgment on whether this would be detrimental or not to the neighborhood.
Sure,
And that's what the questions will be based on.
okay. Right, and I believe, Eileen and Frey, they always take good care of the property. And I believe, they, when they do the construction, they will not have any impact of my property. That's
That's
the
correct. They will
request
not
I
be
want
on
to
your
request.
property for any
Yeah.
construction.
And this is my son, maybe he has something to.
Hi, my name is Kevin Su.
Hi.
And I think Corrine touched on like a schematic of what the garage will look like ultimately. And I'd like to stress that just so we can have a visual on that prior to them go ahead and, make the plans to construct it. Just something that we can see
Well, what this.
visually so that like, I see the top view is okay, but I don't know what the side view will look like,
Yeah, I think he briefly described that. There will be one window on this side and one window in the rear. And one of the zoning board members asked the same question you're asking. He doesn't have that drawing yet. He's waiting to get through that process. That's not a requirement of this board that we have the details.
Okay.
We're just here to say yes or no to a closer setback than what's allowed.
So can you go back to the sketch?
Yeah.
So this is. This is the driveway, right? This is the continuation of the driveway?
I don't believe so. I think the driveway is over more to the right. That's his proposed new garage, that box.
Nope.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, even more further. Yeah. So that's the front of his existing. If you look at the box that has the hash marks, that's his existing house. His driveway goes straight into that currently. but more to the right. Right in front of the, keep going to your right. I believe I have
Have him bring it over.
that. Yeah, if you could bring that up, because we can't see it.
That's his driveway, straight.
Oh, okay, yeah. So what he's looking to do is he's gonna connect to his house and put a box. It's probably gonna end up about the middle of where this thing is now. So it'll actually, this will be. So this gap between his carport and the house will go away. And
Because
so,
his carport is actually further than what. the
that's
property
correct. He said
Exactly.
it's 12 feet.
That's
It's-
right,
yeah,
that's
It's
correct.
gonna be more, further away from your property. Yep. That makes sense. Any additional questions, guys?
No, sir.
Okay.
Thank you
Very
very
good,
much.
thank you. Anyone else here on 5 Dartmouth Street? Hearing none, I will come back to the board, and I believe we start
Corinne.
with Corinne.
I will vote for this.
Thank you. Ken?
I'll vote for this too.
And Ken?
I'll vote for this.
Becky?
And I'll vote for this. It'll be an improvement over the canvas. You're taking that away, right? Yeah, yes, okay.
She wants it gone.
And
You have a beautiful house and then that canvas structure.
Jeff?
Yeah.
I will vote for this.
I too will vote for this, and I just will note that we're going to update the existing plot plan that was submitted from 24 feet to 25 feet to reflect will that change the setbacks?
No.
No.
Yeah, even if it does, it would affect it 57, and possibly be 56, right? So- Okay, could I get a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move to issue a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow a new 24 by 12 foot...
25.
25 by 12-foot garage with a side setback of 15.7 where 20 feet is required. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot and the location of existing structures on the lot. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I've got a
Second.
motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Very good. Good luck. The building department will be in touch for the permit process.
And you'll need to initial the plan.
Right. Yeah, you'll just have to sign off. Okay. Okay.
Flips down.
Four clips down. Go right ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our next case is 22 and 24-48 Cherry Hill Drive. This is zoned industrial 2. Request for dimensional variance from Table 3 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow 2 pedestrian access footbridges with a side setback of 0 feet where 25 feet is required. Request is made by Abiomed Inc., care of Jesse D. Schomer Esquire, Rignanti Stereo LLP, docket 22-4985.
Thank you very much, board members. Good evening to you. Good evening to the members of the public. My name is Attorney Jesse Schomer. I represent Abiomed Incorporated, the applicant in this matter. May I proceed, Mr. Chair?
Yes, go right ahead.
Thank you very much. I heard you have a long agenda tonight, so I'll do my best to keep it brief.
Buzzing along. We're doing well.
Doing well, very well. So, board members, before you tonight, I believe, Georgia, do you have a...
Yeah, do you want me to pull the PowerPoint up?
If you don't mind, yeah. Thank you. Sorry, bear with me for just one moment.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks very much, Georgia. If you could go to the second slide. Okay, thank you. So the property in question tonight, board members, is what you're seeing before you here. This is 22 Cherry Hill Drive on the bottom of the sheet, 24-42 Cherry Hill Drive on the top of the sheet. Both of these properties are owned by Abiomed Incorporated. The lower site there, that's their original campus where they've been since their founding in 1981. They recently purchased the upper site in 2021 as they expand their operations in Danvers. Georgia, if you could go to the next sheet. And what we're here tonight to discuss, board members, is two proposed footbridges, one of which is already existing. It's shown here in this existing condition plan to the right of the sheet. Thank you, Georgia. It's marked as existing bridge. It's a little bit faint there, but that's what that note indicates. The other note on the sheet is a reference to the property line, which runs across the sheet there. And just as a reminder, both of these sites are owned by Abiomed. So the variance that we're requesting tonight is to cross the property line between the two parcels, both owned by Abiomed. Georgia, would you mind going to the next sheet? Thank you very much. So board members, this is the proposed condition plan. To the sheet right, you see the existing bridge that was shown on the existing condition plan, and we'll go into some details of that in a few moments. The proposed footbridge is to the sheet left, all the way to the edge of the plan there. And the reason for this proposal, board members, is the first bridge that you see there, which is constructed, it was approved by the planning board pursuant to site plan review back in 2017. Building permits issued for it. It was constructed and inspected by the engineering department. At that time, it was not determined by the building department that this constituted a structure that required variance for crossing the lot lines. So that was approved, that was built back in 2017. It's been there since then. We are proposing now to construct an additional footbridge at the farther end of the building there. If you see at the top of the sheet, you can catch the outline of the building. This is showing proposed renovations and modifications to the parking lot for the 24-42 parcel, which Abiomed is proposing and is seeking site plan approval from the planning board next month to conduct those additional improvements. But generally, these improvements are part of the integration of this additional site into the original campus that Abiomed has been at, as I mentioned, for just over 40 years. And the existing bridge was approved by the town and by the then owner of the property when Abiomed was just a tenant in this building to the top of the plan. Now that they have acquired the entire building and are in the process of phasing in their employees to occupy the entire building and to update that building for their use, they'd like to build a second footbridge to allow the employees to go directly from that point of the site without having to walk the significant distance out to the existing bridge and then across and then back to the far end of the site. So Georgia, would you mind going to the next sheet? One more after that. Okay, thank you. This, board members, this is the table of dimensional requirements. We've highlighted in yellow there the applicable side yard setback. That is the only relief request that we have before you tonight. We're requesting the variance for the proposed new footbridge to authorize that bridge superstructure to cross the lot line, which would in effect have a 0-foot setback, as well as to authorize the existing bridge. And we were in contact and spoke with Georgia and the planning department about that. And because it was an oversight that the variance was not obtained back in 2017, they did ask that we go ahead and put that bridge in this proposal, which we have now done. So we're effectively asking tonight for you to approve the existing bridge after the fact and the new proposed bridge, which is not yet in place. Georgia, would you mind going to the next sheet? Thank you. So this is the details in plan view of the proposed bridge. And if I may just pause for a moment, I neglected to mention that the rest of my development team is on the line. They're available for questions tonight. And that includes Danelle Baptiste, who is our civil engineer of record for this project. If you have any technical questions about the bridge, he's far better to ask those questions to than me. But this is, as I mentioned, this is the bridge. You see sort of to the bottom of the lot line here, this is the southerly bridge abutment there. Thank you, Georgia. Which is it's the structure that's anchored into the ground. The superstructure of the bridge sits on top of that. In between those two bridge abutments, the other one you can see just to the north of that blue dashed line. In between those, there is a man-made drainage stream that runs along the border of the property. That goes from a pond system in the back of the site, also man-made, when this property was developed as industrial use back in the early 1980s, The stream goes all the way out to Cherry Hill Drive. And so in order to get from Abiomet's property down at the bottom to their new property up at the top, it's necessary to have a bridge to cross that wetland stream because it's a wetland resource. Even though it is a man-made stream, it is a protected wetlands resource. And so alteration of that by grading up to create a path through it, it's not possible to do. So the only way to get from point A down there to point B is really to build a bridge, and that's what we're requesting to do tonight. Georgia, could you go to the next sheet and one past that? This is a photo of the existing bridge. I believe this was taken by our project manager, Shara Lewis of JLL, who's also on the line tonight. This was taken in the last few weeks. This is there on the site, as I mentioned today, has been for the last 5 years. Georgia, could you go one more? And I think we've just got a couple more views of it. This is a view of the bridge abutment there. As you see, that's the structure that's in the ground there, that the superstructure goes across the stream there. So that's our proposal tonight, board members. We respect your time and would appreciate approval of these variances, and I'm open for any questions, as is members of my team.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Schomer. Before I kick it over to the board members, so I just want to see if I can summarize here. This existing bridge has a 0-foot setback, or the one you're proposing?
Both do.
Both do.
Because the bridges, they start on one side of the property line, they terminate on the other side.
So there's actually no setback?
There's no setback. Yeah.
Okay. And is the water that's going under these bridges, is this wastewater management? I know you said it was part of the industrial site when it was developed, but what feeds it, or if anything?
It's stormwater, actually.
It is stormwater.
Yeah, so I don't know, Georgia, if you can go back to the second sheet, I can show you a little bit how the site is laid out. So I'll show you here.
And Jesse, you may be able to undo the microphone
Yeah,
and bring it
just
with
so we
you to
could,
the screen.
Yeah, just pick up the microphone with you if you want.
We'll be like Bob
wow.
Barker tonight.
Let's try this. Let's see
Bill,
how
you
this
got it.
goes. Okay.
There we go.
Bill's happy.
Be here all week, folks. So this area back here, this is a wooded swamp area. This is a large pond. There's another pond here. There's another pond offsite here, and this over there is noted. That's the Beverly Airport. So you may remember we were before you last year for a series of recreational structures in this area here. So this is the primary pond here. It feeds across a culvert down here and comes straight out there and ends up over here.
Okay, very good. All right, you have nothing further to add, and I'll turn it over for questions.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Jeff, we'll start down there with you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have no questions.
Thank you. Becky?
I don't think I have any questions. I went out there and took a look at the bridge. Very nice. So, no questions.
Tidy.
Ken?
I know you just asked this, but, so it's a 0 setback because you cross over the lot line from one lot to the other lot,
That's right.
and that makes it 0.
That's right.
That's all the questions I have.
Good, thanks. Ken?
Have you measured it to accommodate like a standard width wheelchair or something? It looks pretty thin.
Georgia, could you go back to the detail plan, and
Yeah, ADA.
If I could, I'll hand that question over to Danelle Baptiste, who's on tonight, and he can talk about it in greater detail. There he is.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen of the board. My name is Danelle Baptiste. I'm project manager with High Point on behalf of Abiomed. I believe the bridge is a 6-foot clear, which means unobstructed for 6 feet. So it would be able to accommodate ADA pedestrians along that bridge.
So
Okay.
Georgia, if you go actually to the 7th sheet on this, that shows the new bridge.
This next, sorry.
There should be a sheet on there that has the dimensions, I believe, as well.
Yeah.
6 feet width.
Not this one.
I think
this-
the bridge is near the end.
Is it a page we haven't seen yet? by
Oh,
chance?
you just,
Yep.
there was.
This one?
That one, that's it. No, I'm sorry, George.
The proposed bridge.
Yeah, the proposed bridge. That's the existing one. It's similar dimensions.
Sorry, guys.
I think we have a cross-section of the bridge
There you
at the
go.
very end
There
of
you
the
go. There you
presentation.
go. That one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. 6 feet wide.
All right,
Yeah.
so,
Does that answer it?
yep, it does.
Anything else?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Corinne?
I just have a couple questions. So the two bridges will have identical looks?
They're similar, they're slightly different in the structure, and Danelle can explain that in detail if you'd like, but they're designed to be basically the same bridge. The different requirements based on the different location, but same bridge essentially.
Okay, and so the only reason why you're here on the first bridge is because you needed a variance in 2017, which for whatever reason wasn't granted at that time, correct?
It wasn't applied for at that time.
Yeah,
I wasn't,
requested by the town.
No, I know.
yeah.
I know.
Not to point any fingers at anyone, I think it was just something that was missed, and it was missed on our part, and perhaps on the town's part, but now we're here, hat in hand, to correct the issue.
Okay, so you're not updating or doing anything to that other bridge, you're just constructing the new one?
Correct.
And George, may I ask Georgia a question? So if we don't grant this tonight, they can't put up the second bridge, but they also have to take down the first bridge? Did I read the memo correctly?
Yeah, well, the board has choices, so just, Abiomed is asking for two things: a variance for the new bridge with a 0 setback, and a variance to kind of rectify the variance that wasn't granted for the bridge that exists. So the board could grant the new bridge, they could deny the existing bridge, in which they would have to take it out, deny both, grant both. There are options for the board members.
Okay, and I'm assuming the reason why you want the second bridge is to just accommodate another section of your property?
That's exactly right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Thanks, Corinne. And I think Corinne asked my question, so it's really almost a work traffic footpath flow for your campus.
That's right. So in addition to having access to that end of the building, there's also the recreational structures, the LRC, you may remember from last year.
I do remember.
Yeah, it's been built, their employees
I
are.
think that must be keeping everybody in shape at Abbey.
I think so. Hopefully you've been out to check out the site, maybe gone through the course once or twice.
No,
I haven't
me.
myself. But yeah, you're right, Mr. Chair, that's the
Okay.
purpose of it.
And Georgia, I'm also gonna go out to you, so I think I'm clear on the 0 setback, but are we talking about like the footings, or are we talking about the structure, or are we talking about all of it? 'Cause it's a
All
little
of
bit
it, because
gray
it
to me.
essentially, it goes over the line, so the closest it is to the other line is 0.
Okay. On
So
both
there could be
sides.
stuff at 1 and 2 and 3, but no matter what, there's always something at
And
0.
I think, Mr. Schomer, if I heard you correctly, Abiomed owns both lots.
That's right.
Okay, no lease or anything like that?
Nope, they own both. The deeds for both properties were included in the packet that we filed with you. And just to point out, Mr. Chair, we've noted on the plans here, these are the setbacks to the abutments, if that's of interest to you. So it's 21.9 to that abutment here.
Okay.
And then, I think that's 6, or 0. Half a foot of this abutment here. So the structure of the bridge itself goes across the lot line here.
Yeah, I think it makes sense to me now. I think initially, anytime we see 0-foot setbacks, we get squeaky,
Yep.
right? So-
Yep. That usually sends up red flags.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Hearing none, I'm gonna go out to the public. Is anybody here for 22 and 22, 24, and 48?
It's, the first parcel is 22, the second parcel is 22-48. At some point, hopefully that one will get changed to just
24-40,
24.
Yeah.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
24 to 42.
Okay. Anyone here to speak on this, Abiomed's campus? Hearing none, I will come back to the board for deliberations. Jeff?
I will vote for this.
Very good. Becky?
Thank you. I will also vote for this, and we appreciate all of the development and Abiomed being such a great contribution to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will vote for this. I look at it, they own the two lots anyways. It's not affecting anyone around them. I'll vote for it.
And Ken?
I'll vote for this too.
And Corinne?
I will vote for this as well.
And I echo Becky's sentiment. I think Aviament's been a great, not only tenant to Cherry Hill, but good for the town of Danvers. So could I get a motion?
Yeah. I got it. I move to issue a dimensional variance from Table 3, of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow 2 pedestrian access footbridges with a side setback of 0 feet where 25 feet is required, as shown on the plans provided by the applicant. The hardship is the site's unique soil conditions, unusual lot shape, and topography. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I've got a motion.
I will second that.
And I've got a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Good luck.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
We'll be able to do the obstacle course. Maybe.
I don't think so.
Becky's first.
Field trip. I should have a road
Gotta
trip.
get new
No, actually,
clothes.
Georgia will represent.
She's our leader.
Group bonding.
All right.
Ready?
Yes. Next one.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Our next case is 42 and 44 Summer Street, zoned R2. Request for a special permit in accordance with Section 30 and for a finding in accordance with Section 3.12 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow the expansion of an existing grandfathered nursing home, memory care facility, use to accommodate 30 additional nursing beds. Request is made by Danvers MC Owner LLC and Gambrell LLC, docket 22-4987.
I believe we're in receipt of some letters. I
Yes,
don't know,
Mr.
were you
Chairman.
given copies of these?
I received them this afternoon, yes.
Okay, we're gonna read them in.
We also got one at 4 o'clock, was that?
Yeah, I believe
Did you
Ms.
see that one?
Ms. McCann has only received the 2 we received, so after about 3:50 to 4 PM, I received 2
Want to
others.
do that one before?
Are you reading those in now or after the presentation?
I think after.
Okay, go ahead, we'll read them after.
Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of the applicants Gambrell LLC and Danvers MC Owner LLC. Representatives of both of those LLCs are here with me this evening as well. And this is regarding the properties at 42 and 44 Summer Street. Both of those properties are located in the R2 zoning district. And we submitted an application to you that presented to you the entire project, which includes a special permit and a finding relative to the expansion of the nursing home use, as well as a lot area variance. What was advertised for this evening was just the special permit and the finding. The variance was not advertised for this evening. I believe that was has been advertised for the August 22nd meeting. What I'd like to do, however, since I did file an application with the entire project, I think it makes sense for me to talk about the entire project. So we are requesting a finding in order to alter the existing non-conforming memory care nursing facility that's located on 44 Summer Street. That's been before this board a number of times. It is non-conforming due to the time when it was initially commenced. We are also seeking a special permit to allow the expansion of that nursing home use to provide nursing home beds, 30 new nursing home beds, on a portion of the property that's located at 42 Summer Street. That's also located in the R2 zoning district. And the reason why they're different is because we have an existing non-conforming use at 44. We're altering that in order to provide the building connection to the new nursing home section, which is located at 42 Summer Street. Nursing home uses in the R2 zoning district are in fact permitted uses. Nursing homes are permitted in R2. A not-for-profit nursing home requires no action of the Board of Appeals. A for-profit nursing home, which this is, requires a special permit, meaning it's a permitted use, but we have to meet certain conditions. So it's an interesting distinction that the zoning bylaw makes, because that distinction between for-profit and not-for-profit has nothing to do at all with the building or the operation. So it's an interesting, and I question whether it's perhaps a valid distinction under a zoning bylaw, but that's what the Danvers zoning bylaw says. So if we were a not-for-profit nursing home, we wouldn't be here.
Like a state-run facility or something.
We wouldn't be here at all. But because it's for-profit, we have to request a special permit, and that's what we have before you tonight. The other aspect of this is the variance request, and that's a lot area variance to allow the existing historic first period structure that's located at 42 Summer Street to remain, but on a smaller lot, a lot undersized, not 20,000 square feet. I think, Georgia, if you could put up the site plan, the plan layout.
You want the colored one or the plan set?
The plan set, please. So the existing memory care nursing facility, next one, has 60 beds. You'll recall we came before you back a number of years ago for a finding to reduce the number of beds from 100 at that time, which was permitted, to 60 as a memory care nursing home facility. And we are proposing to add 30 new nursing home beds on the section of the property that's located at 42 Summer Street. The current facility is about 95% occupied, and there is a need for additional nursing home beds to meet the needs of the Danvers community. Nursing homes provide, under the zoning bylaw, domiciliary care, treatment, and lodging for those who require or receive assistance in ordinary daily activities, or who are confined to a bed or a chair. So we're talking about a nursing home facility for those members of our community who can't take care of themselves anymore, and they need a residential area to live in. It is a residential use. That's why the zoning bylaw, the R2 section, identifies a nursing home use as a permitted use, because it is in fact residential. And it's residential for those who cannot care for themselves any longer. So we are proposing, I'm going to try and use this. We'll see how I do. Probably have to use this too. All right, so the existing nursing home facility is located in this area here. And again, it is a non-conforming grandfathered memory care nursing home facility. The proposed 30 units are being added here with a connection to the existing facility. So this will be all one facility. There will be a shared shared services, so shared facilities provided to the residents. There will still be only one kitchen. There will not be a new kitchen in this area. The kitchen will remain in the existing facility. There will be sharing of staff. This is simply an adding of 30 additional nursing home beds with a connection. The existing entrance point for the facility is here, and that will remain. There will also be an entrance point here for those who want to access directly into the new facility. 42 Summer Street is currently configured like this. .44 Summer Street is here. What we are proposing to do is alter the lot line between 42 and 44 by moving it here. So 44 Summer Street will take what's shown on your plan as parcel B, about 29,000 square feet, which is here, and add it to the existing 44 Summer Street parcel. 42 Summer Street will be a smaller lot. It requires a lot variance, for which we have applied, containing about 8,600 square feet. And on that, we will retain the existing first period historic structure. We are meeting the setback requirements to the existing structure for the new lot line. We are meeting setback requirements for this proposed addition. It is a fully conforming addition on the lot. Again, by doing this, we're able to meet the nursing home needs of the community. We're able to do that in a way that shares staffing, it shares kitchen facilities, it shares the access point, and various services and programs. We need a finding because the existing facility is non-conforming, and we're putting an addition on that existing facility to create the connector area. The connection is fully conforming, but it's an alteration of the existing non-conforming nursing home facility. We are seeking a special permit for the new nursing home addition of 30 beds, which is fully conforming, meets all of the setback requirements. It's a 2-story, it meets the height requirement, but it is a for-profit nursing home and therefore requires a special permit. When Gambrell LLC purchased the property at 42 Summer Street, it applied to the building inspector for a demolition permit. That triggered the demolition delay bylaw by the Preservation Commission. We met with the Preservation Commission in May, and the Preservation Commission educated us all quite a bit on the history of what is a first period 1700s house located at 42 Summer Street. The property's been vacant for some time. It has certainly fallen into disrepair. However, the Preservation Commission determined that it was historically significant and determined that it was worthy of preservation. That imposed a 1-year demolition delay, meaning that the building cannot be torn down for 1 year, and that commenced in May of this year. In doing that, the Preservation Commission members and members of the public who were there encouraged strongly the owner, Gambrell LLC, to try and make some sort of configuration so that that the house could be saved. And still, the addition to the nursing home could be done, or whatever other development that Gambrell LLC might want to do with the property. And that's what we've done here is, and it was discussed at the Preservation Commission. Can't you divide it off? What can you do? Can you divide it off? And yes, we can divide it off with a lot area variance. And so we have requested that variance to allow a lot area shown as lot A1 on your plan to be carved off, and the first period home to be retained. And that's what this plan does. It retains the historic house, it retains the streetscape, and the lot area variance while not before you tonight and will be at your next meeting, certainly is a unique situation. And it's a structure that is very unique. It's non-conforming itself as far as front setbacks are concerned, but we wouldn't be changing those. But it is certainly a historic structure for the town. So the applicant proposes the new nursing home area and the retention of the historic structure, which has been designed, and the new nursing home and the connection has been designed to meet all of the setback requirements of the R2 zoning district. So what we have before you tonight is a finding for the connection, and that is the alteration of the existing non-conforming nursing home at 44 Summer Street to allow the existing building to have an addition put on it to create the connection, and then to grant a special permit for the nursing home use on what is mostly located on what is now 42 Summer Street. I will note the new addition at 42 Summer Street is in excess of 88 feet from the front lot line from Summer Street. To the new nursing home is 88.7 feet, where a 30-foot setback is required. So we are proposing a nursing home that is significantly set back further than required under the bylaw. And our application lists all of the criteria for the special permit under Section 30 of the zoning bylaw. There are no special criteria for nursing home use in particular. So we meet the setback requirements, which we do under the R2 zoning district, and we need to demonstrate compliance with the criteria that I have demonstrated in the application with regard to municipal water and sewer services. Should the special permit be granted, we will have to go through site plan approval with the planning board and full review by town engineering department. The public streets will not become overloaded by the proposed use. This anticipates, again, because there's going to be shared staffing and shared facilities between the existing memory care nursing home facility and the new 30-bed addition, probably only maybe 6 new employees. So we're not talking about a significant increase in employee traffic. The kitchen will remain as it currently is located. Deliveries to the kitchen area will be the same. The value of land and other buildings will not be depreciated by the proposed use. This is a residential use in a residential zone. And the specific site is an appropriate location for the use and structures. Again, as outlined in my application, this is a permitted use meeting all of the setback requirements in a residential zone. The proposal is in harmony with the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw as well, to provide housing for a certain segment of the community, which any one of us could become a part of, for those who can't care for themselves. And there is a need for the 30 beds, and that's what's being proposed here. The finding with regard to the small connection that we're proposing, that connection and that finding will not even be visible from the street, and we would suggest to you, for purposes of the finding, that that will not be substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood than what currently exists. Again, it won't even be visible from the street. Georgia, could you pull up a couple of the renderings, please? And while she's doing that, I will say we do meet the parking requirement under the zoning bylaw. We will not be seeking or need to seek a parking waiver from the planning board. We are fully compliant with regard to parking. And that's a colored version of what I've just been talking, to. We have the existing dwelling that will remain here with the required number of parking spaces provided.
Sorry, Nancy.
And we'll have a courtyard area here. Yeah, how about the street side rendering? And this is a view heading southerly, I'll say, on Summer Street. This is the existing facility. The historic home, which will remain, is here. And behind it is the 30 beds, two-story structure, which fits in well and certainly fits in with the height requirement in the R2 zoning district. Procedurally, I have applied for everything in the application that you have before you. Again, the special permit and the finding were advertised for tonight. The variance is being advertised, even though it was in this application, it's being advertised for your meeting of August 22nd. And we have, as staff has suggested that we do, we have applied for the A&R endorsement of the change in the lot line. That's on the agenda for the planning board tomorrow night. That is subject to an A&R endorsement. I will say typically the lot area variance comes first. And that's why we applied for it this way. I believe town council is telling you we should flip it and do the lot variance, area variance after. Okay, it's whatever. We'll do it this way. And so we are on the agenda. And the only issue before the planning board, as some of you know, is whether the lot has frontage. And the lot does have the required frontage, so the A&R plan will be endorsed as it's required to be. So, I think that's it. Other than the applicants have made attempts to meet with as many of their neighbors as possible. They do have some letters of support from 46 Summer Street as well as 5 College Pond. And that is what I have for you this evening. I'd be happy to answer any questions. I know I
Great, thank you.
presented
That
a
was
lot.
Very thorough. Before I turn it over to the board, I think there's a couple things I was thinking about all weekend. I talked with the planning department as well. Maybe you can help clarify why in 2014 was there not, when this changed from nursing to memory care, why was a special permit not required then?
It wasn't, no, it was a finding. Then it was not a special permit because it was a non-conforming use. This property started off years ago, it was a motel. And then it became a nursing home before a special permit was required. So that rendered it a non-conforming use. And so since it was a non-conforming use, the building inspector determined, and I think correctly so, that as a non-conforming use, to change that use, we needed a finding, not a special permit.
Okay. And then, I'm not sure I understand that.
Well, the nursing home use started on this property when it was permitted. And then
And it was
zoning.
for-profit nursing,
Correct,
okay.
yes. And then the bylaw changed to require
Special permit.
for-profit nursing homes to get a special permit, but this was already in existence. So it became grandfathered.
Good. And again, I saw the letter from town council as well, and I understand understand they want the A&R in place before we could vote on a variance. But let's just play it out, you get the A&R. If the variance is denied by this board, then what happens?
I take the A&R plan and crumple it up in a ball and I throw it in the trash can.
Start over, okay.
Yeah, which is really unfortunate. That's why, in my opinion, A&Rs come at the end. And I'm not alone in that position, but because it's not discretionary. The A&R has to be signed. It's got the required frontage. So typically, one would get any discretionary permits, like a variance, first, so that you don't waste time and money getting an A&R signed, and then come to find out you don't get your discretionary permit. So it's an unusual switch of order,
Yeah.
but we can accommodate it, and that's what we're doing.
All right, I have a bunch of other questions, but I'm gonna wait and see if my fellow members ask, and I will, are you all set? All right,
Yes.
I'm gonna start with you, Corinne.
So your two clients wanted to buy that, or bought that other property and wanted to demolish the building and combine the lots, so you wouldn't have to go through this process?
No, we still have to go through the process.
No, was that the goal of purchasing that other piece of property? Because you needed that additional land?
Yes, and a separate entity, Gambrell LLC, purchased that property when it came on the market. And it was anticipated that the antique, not knowing the history of it, and the condition of it, would be demolished. And then we would go forward with an addition to the nursing home, if that's what the two parties decided to do, without having to have the antique house in the front.
Okay.
And going through the Preservation Commission, it was strongly recommended that we try, it was requested that we try to save the house.
Okay. So as part of the process of trying to save the house, your client has no intention of rehabbing that house. They're just gonna wait the year, and then if no one kind of comes to the rescue, then you'll demolish the property, correct?
No, not under this application.
Okay.
Absolutely not. The house is saved under this application.
Okay, but what happens to it then at the end of the year?
It would be then, if this application in total is approved, you will have granted a lot area variance so the house can be on its own legal lot, and it would be rehabbed and sold.
Okay, all right, so that is the intention then?
Yes.
To rehab it and to sell it and, okay, all right. Just one other question. In your application, you state that they want to increase the bed size by 30. How many beds are there now?
There are 60 in the existing nursing home memory care.
If you're gonna speak, I'd ask you to go
It
to the
is,
mic.
it is an approved 60-bed facility. There are currently 55 beds in there now.
Okay,
Historically, the nursing home on this site had been 100 beds,
okay,
and it was reduced back in 2014 to 60 beds with a focus on memory care. And now there is a need in the community for more general nursing home beds, and so we're proposing this addition on some additional land to get up to the 90 beds total, which is still less than what it was before.
okay. And this is exclusively memory care?
Not the new 30. The new 30 are nursing home.
Oh, okay. Okay. No further questions?
Thank you, Corinne. Ken?
So with the 30 new beds, are you going to expand or build another rec room? So you're going to cram more people into the existing rec room? There's usually like not a lot of room in those
I wouldn't
areas.
say cram. No, the new facility will have its own activity areas.
Okay.
And its own dining area, but it won't have its own kitchen, so the
Yep.
food will be coming from the existing kitchen. But it will have its own eating areas, its own activities areas and things like that. So it will have its own areas for activities for the residents.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Ken?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Help me understand this. So the 29,000 square foot parcel B, it's not a buildable lot.
Right.
But if they deed it to 44 and combine it with their lot, it's now buildable. Is that what you're saying here?
It will become part of 44. It will not be a separate lot. 44 will be increased. Can we,
But it was part of 42.
it was part of 42.
So they're gonna deed that
42
section
will
to
be
44.
decreased, and the area that's shown as parcel B on your plan will be added to 44.
And that makes it buildable at that point?
Well, it makes it part of 44, which is a buildable lot.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
By all you had to do was deed that little piece to 44, and it's automatically buildable because it's part of 44. Right? That's what you're telling me?
Well, yes, I
But it's
think
not
that's what I'm
buildable
telling you.
Because it's part of 42.
It's, right, so 42 currently has about 37,000 square feet.
Right.
All right, so that's a buildable lot. It's 37,000 square feet, and it has an antique on it that's on the front lot line.
Right.
44 Summer is currently 96,000 square feet. So we're going to we're going to adjust the lot line in between the two, and we're going to take about 29,000 from 42 and add it to 44.
Right.
So we're making 44 now about 2.88 acres, about
Right.
2.9 acres.
So it allows you to make that buildable now and put the addition there. Because
It
you're
gives
adding
us
to
area, I'm having trouble with saying it allows it to become buildable. It's buildable. What it does is it allows room on 44 for this addition
Just by making it 44.
by changing the lot line, yes. So this is, right,
So it makes it buildable.
this is my colored version that I colored up today. So
Yep.
currently, .44 is
Right.
this area back here. 42 is outlined in orange, all right? So 42 is going to be reduced down to blue.
8,000 square
Yep,
feet.
89, 86,
86.
8,600 with that house. This parcel B, which is by itself not buildable.
Correct, that's what I'm saying.
So the A&R plan has a note on it that says that parcel B is not a buildable lot, but it is to be combined with 44.
Gotcha.
And so it's very clear on the A&R plan that parcel B by itself is not buildable, but you add parcel B to 44, and you get one lot that is about 2.9 acres.
Gotcha.
Got it?
I'm all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ken. Becky?
Okay, so trying to decide which way to go at this. So how long has the house been vacant?
3 years? 3 years?
Okay, and it was just purchased by them in January?
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay. It's, needs a lot of work, so,
It does, and it came up for an auction
oh, it did?
with about 48 hours' notice.
With about what?
About 48 hours' notice. It was real quick.
Okay. All right. So I just want to confirm the setbacks for the new structure will be in compliance?
Yes.
That's what you said?
Yes.
And the setbacks or the parking will all be in compliance?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. And then the new house, the setbacks for that, can you discuss those?
Yes.
Not the new house, the house that.
The existing house. The existing house currently is non-conforming as to the front
On the
setback.
street, yeah.
Yeah.
I've been there, yeah.
Right. It's also non-conforming as to this side setback.
Okay,
That's not changing.
okay.
That side setback is not changing. the front setback is not changing. The new lot line that's being created here, the setback will be fully conforming. So we're making sure that the new lot line that we're drawing here for the new 42 Summer Street is conforming as to the rear setback, and it's conforming as to this side setback, and nothing's being touched as to the existing nonconformity to the side and existing nonconformity as to front.
So there's no intention to move the building?
Oh, no.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Attorney McCann, I'm having trouble here because the gorilla in the room to me is the variance. And we should be talking about the variance and how distasteful the variance is before we talk about the special permit and the finding. I guess we really can't do that at this meeting because it hasn't been announced.
I don't disagree with you, which is why I applied for it all at the same time.
The board is loath to take a conforming lot and approve a variance to make it non-conforming. In addition, I don't think there's a hardship. You're creating a hardship.
Just questions right now.
Well,
I don't have any questions.
if I can respond to that, we were asked to do that.
I understand.
We were asked to do that by the Preservation Commission and some very vocal members of the public who did not want to see that house torn down. So how can we accommodate that? And we do, in my opinion, have a hardship because we have a very unique situation. We have an existing structure on the lot, and we are trying to accommodate that, and we are making the best that we can do to save that house. If that variance isn't granted, I'll be very honest with you, the house isn't going to remain. And so we're trying. We heard what was said by the Preservation
You could have
Commission.
allocated more than 8,600 square feet to that lot, though.
You know, we laid it out as best that we could, but that's all part of the discussion with the Board of Appeals.
I have no further questions.
Thanks, Jeff. All right, so I have a few questions regarding the proposed addition. If, what I haven't heard is what would the square footage be of that? Approximate, I don't need it exact.
I'm going to ask Brendan Mallon.
Okay, so I'll jump to something else. You said 30, and this is coming as a surprise to me that they are going to be nursing home beds. Are they all going to be on the first floor in administrative type offices or something upstairs? I'm trying to understand why you'd have a nursing home with a elderly people second floor use.
Brendan Mallon from Gambrell LLC.
Can answer.
Hi.
Hi. Yeah. So no, there'll be beds on both floors, and there'll be
So
common
15 per floor kind of
something
thing?
like that. There's
Yeah.
on the first floor there'll be a lobby, an entrance as you come in. As was asked before, there'll be additional common spaces for dining and activities. So there's a little bit less on the first floor. I think it's 13 and 17, something like that.
Okay. But so the intention is to put people on the second floor?
Yep, and there'll be a elevator that'll,
And
to
you're still
bring them up.
calculating the square footage?
Yeah, and I'm gonna get you
Okay.
that.
So no offices or anything of this nature in the new building?
There'll be, I don't have the floor plan here, but when you come in the front of the new building, there's units here, there's units here, there's units here, and kind of in the two L's here, there'll be, a few staff offices, so someone, just like when you walk into this building, anyone who's been in there, there's a reception area, there'll be a reception area there, as well as, so there'll be one or two staff offices, and then there'll be, on this L side is where the kind of activities and dining will be. But, so they'll just probably, I think there's two or three offices there that get used by staff.
Attorney McCann, so when this came before us back in 2014, I think one of the selling points for me that you hammered home and pointed out to us was, hey, this is going to be a memory care facility, a lot less traffic generator, different than a nursing home, not as many visitors, this type of thing. Adding these 30 nursing home beds, can this now arbitrarily flip to be all 90 beds being nursing home beds without this board's approval, or, I mean, how do I know that 60/30 is the cut, and how does that get spun out?
You know that because that's your decision. It was 60, the 60 on the existing facility is not changing. Those are memory care, those are how those were permitted.
So that's staying?
Correct.
And you're just asking
And
for a nursing?
the nursing home beds simply are needed. They are needed rather than additional memory care beds. Is there a significant difference between the number of visitors for those in memory care and those in nursing home? I don't know that there's a significant difference that would make a difference to this area, but Brendan says he can answer that question.
So our average resident is in their mid-80s, and none of them drive. So the difference between the residents that'll be in memory care versus the residents that may not, this'll end up being, in addition to non-memory care residents, it'll also be what we consider like transitional residents. So someone who has early stages of dementia, but they don't need full memory care. So it's kind of a transitional area, and then once they age in place, then they can move over into the full memory care section. But in terms of traffic, driving, none of these residents are going to drive. So it's not, in terms of how the community operates, it's not going to impact any of the other service needs of the community because they non-memory care.
Okay, no, I get that.
Okay.
I don't think I'm, and again, I'm going back to how it was presented in 2014.
Sure.
I'm thinking more on a visitor side of things, and people coming, family members, whatever. I'm assuming nursing care, they're going to see a more regular flow of family versus memory care.
It actually
Am I right
doesn't
to assume
change.
that?
No, the visitor count is typically based on the age of the resident. So we don't see more visitors at 85 without dementia than we do with dementia.
Okay, all right.
If that answers the question.
So, am I still, you're gonna give me this?
Yeah.
So, Attorney McCann, are you aware of the town project that's going to run behind this property? And I'm guessing by the look on your face, the answer is
The
no.
town project, are you?
There is a proposal to do a large sewer line between Greenleaf Drive and College Pond Road.
Yep.
That will clear cut your applicant's entire rear of all of its trees. And I'll refer to Georgia because I think she knows the width. I'm going to say it's 20, 30 feet wide.
The-
Off.
I can't confirm, but I know the right-of-way at least would be 30 feet, and then the associated work around that.
Mhm.
It is temporary clearing, but yeah.
Yeah.
So I bring that up only because that obviously is going to change. And we're it's not just the house that's historic there, right? There's the College Pond Conservation Area, there's the Oak Knoll area. So I'm just worried on how this, if that was considered at all, because I think a two-story structure there can now be seen by many abutters when those trees disappear. And they
Well-
won't be replanted, by the way, because the town has already informed us that they can't replant them because of the pipes.
Yeah. Well, we will be going, as I said, we go through site plan approval, and part of site plan approval is what we call a technical review committee. And that's where we meet with the engineering department and we talk about things like this that may impact. You're talking about something that's going to be done off-site. We are proposing a building that is no taller than a single-family home. It's a simple two-story structure. It won't be any taller than the single-family homes in the area. We have the existing facility between, because you're talking about in the back, running along in the back, between the sewer line that you're talking about and the new two-story height of a single-family home structure that's in the front that's being proposed. So I don't think it's going to impact either our residents or residents within the neighborhood any more than the clear cutting that apparently the town is going to be doing.
Well, I think that, you know, the clear cutting's one thing. I don't think anybody really wants to see the clear cutting, but I think the concern would be is now the clear cutting occurs, and now there's a large structure to look at on top of the clear cutting.
Well, again,
I won't say large, but
right,
a structure.
The height is no different than a single-family home, but that's all part of site plan. The landscaping plan, adding buffering, that's the kind of thing that we would get very much into discussion with the planning board. And while we're proposing an addition up in this area, it may be that there's landscaping that needs to be done in another area of this site that, now that we know about the sewer line and clear cutting that the town is going to do, we would be asked to do. And that would be part of the landscape.
And I don't disagree. I think the point is one of the things this board's doing is looking, is this more detrimental to the neighborhood? So I agree with what you're saying, and you'll ferret this out with the town engineers. But we're looking at it, is it more detrimental to have this structure here? So with that in mind, have you considered a smaller structure than what I still don't know the square footage of this one is?
We have. So to answer your other question, it's not an exact number, but I came up with roughly 17,000 square feet. It's about 8.5 per floor.
I had to go through the chair.
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Someone was
We're
asking
getting
a
asked
question.
questions here.
Oh, no, yeah, please, hold up.
So yeah, we
the
17,000
proposed
square feet.
addition's about
17,000 square feet, and we did run a bunch of scenarios on it's not only a site layout, it's a mathematical equation as well. So we start at one point, end up with the units that I need to make it work, and then backwards from there. So we did a typical nursing home unit for non-dementia is a little bigger. We're a little bit bigger than our existing units here. Memory care tend to be the smallest, but we didn't go as big as if you were to kind of survey the area and ask what people have on average. We're smaller, so we took that into account to make the units a little bit smaller, on the smaller end of what they would be, in the market, to get the building size down. And then it's, we try to keep a certain ratio of common space so that people aren't packed in tight and they're not going anywhere.
What's the smallest size you can say?
They're all the same. They're I just had it up. I think they're like 22 by 15, I want to say. They're all the same.
No, I understand that. So you said 17,000 is what you came up with, but what was the smallest size building you considered?
That is the smallest size building. We started bigger, yeah.
This is the smallest?
Yeah, we worked our way down from bigger. We worked our, and then, again, I think as was discussed originally, the intent was to potentially utilize all the space, but after we went through the historic preservation process and really, there was the amount of outpouring to save that house. I mean, there was letters from colleges from multiple states across the country. So I'm sure everyone, you were there. So we took that as loud and clear, and I know there was some comments about if this could be bigger. I mean, we really worked backwards from the setback that we needed in the back. So you can see this lot line's at 15.3. The setback required is 15. So there's no way to make it bigger. Knowing that we've got our building as small as we could, there's no way to make this bigger. And then we need to have, a certain amount of area here for road, landscaping, buffering, et cetera, to get our courtyard in. So we kind of really button this thing into the biggest lot in terms, I know you're not doing the variance tonight, but we button this into kind of the biggest lot we could get it in with the smallest structure we could get to get the 30 units.
Well, and let me talk about that road a little bit. So, we're gonna take an addition and share 44 somewhere. Why do we have to have another road? Why can't it all just come from 44?
Just the fire department's going to want access to this side of the building, so we need to have access to this side of the building. It hasn't gone through fire department review, but the plan was done by Hancock based on the requirements that are needed. So a couple things else to point out. I mean, we did look at, we eliminated this curb cut here that's going to go to the historical house, just to, one, I think it was lined up with a neighbor across the street, which was kind of somewhat of an issue, so we moved it down. But we wanted to try to eliminate as much as we could. It's one less, thing to plow, it's one less thing to deal with. So whoever ends up in this house will come in and it'll be a shared access point to eliminate that. And everyone knew pulling out of this house, I think when you might have we looked at the house prior to the review, I mean, it's like a death trap pulling out.
Some streets are very tough.
So this improves that because that house sticks out dramatically. So this house, they'll pull out here and they'll have full view now as they pull out.
Okay, I don't have any further questions. Any additional questions?
I actually have another
Yeah.
question.
Go ahead, Bree.
I'm looking back at the history, the code history, and back in 2013, you requested a change from a 100-bed nursing home to a 60-bed specialized residential memory care facility. So back then you had 100 beds and it was in the same size facility. So you said it was approved for 60, you only have 55 right now. So if you add the 30, it's only 85. So I don't understand why you need a 17,000 square foot building if you actually used to fit 100 beds in the old facility.
Well, there were never really 100 beds in modern times in that facility. It was permitted for 100 beds. But the market requirements, what our aging parents and seniors expect now for a quality nursing home facility, dictates larger space. I don't know if you have
add to
anything more to
that.
add
So
to that.
Back under that prior application, we never operated this. The current owners never operated this under the 100 beds. They purchased it under the 100 beds and brought in their new operation, asked for the reduction. So just for a point of clarity, the new owners always operated it under 100 beds. That was the prior tenant they bought it off who moved their beds, I think, across town. The way they operated was extremely different. They had 4 people in a unit that we have 1 person in. It's the difference of somebody living in 225 square feet versus 50. So the market standards just don't apply like they used to. In the old nursing home standards was just jam people in beds, divide it with a curtain, shared bathrooms, shared showers. When we changed the community, we changed all that to be one bed per unit versus 2, 3, and 4 beds per unit. Everybody has their own individual bathroom, their own individual shower. There's no shared spaces. So it's just a dramatic improvement for the resident. We have residents at Danvers in our community, so it's, we try to offer something that's a dramatic improvement to the old nursing home kind of model. So that's why we would need. So on a ratio perspective, if you were to take kind of averages of these scenarios in new communities built in the last 10 years, we're still under the square footage per unit than you'd find per average kind of anywhere. If you look at any of the other communities in town, we're substantially per unit based on the square footage. This will be under in total. So if you took the total units, divided it by the total footage, we're still substantially under what you'd find at most other places.
And when you build the new kind of wing to the building, will you rehab the whole building? Are you going to have any type of, like, extensive renovations?
No, because when we purchased this, we pretty much gutted the whole building to the shell in 2015 and renovated that whole thing then. So it's still relatively new. We do our, kind of updates every couple of years where we change floors and stuff when residents move out. But all this stuff was built at less than 10 years ago, completely renovated this whole entire building. So there won't be anything new that takes place in there when this goes on.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions from the board?
I was just going to say, it looks like we're going to have an extended period of public comment. Maybe we should take a 5-minute break.
We can do that as well. We can finish with that piece of it first. Do you have any questions?
Could I just ask a question about height? Could you give us the height of the period house and the height of the 2-story addition?
Boy, I don't think I have those.
Okay.
We can get them.
It looks like the the 42 summer is quite tall.
It's quite tall. I suspect
I mean, it's a stately type house, right?
it may exceed the height. I don't know that. It may exceed the R2 height. We will not be exceeding the R2 height.
Before,
we can vent.
we're gonna recess for 5, but we did receive some letters. And,
yeah, 3
We're gonna read them in, Attorney McKenna.
Us.
All right.
Want to read these first? Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. My husband Pete and I live at 4 Greenleaf Drive, and we would like to voice that we do not support the project on Summer Street to expand the assisted living facility. We live directly abutting the current facility and find it to be very noisy. The deliveries, trash trucks, backup bells, plows, etc. are very loud and frequent. The employees often play loud music in their cars and smoke in the back, which we can smell from our house. Also, we have had a problem with the facility's fence falling into our yard. It took almost a year for them to get them to fix it. They finally fixed it only after one called their corporate headquarters and threatened to call the Department of Health. We can only assume that the noise and smoke would increase with the size of the facility, considering how difficult it is to get them to fix any issue to begin with. I imagine it would be worse with more property to manage. This is Maggie and Pete Strategakis of 4 Greenleaf. The second letter is, I'm writing in regards to the proposed expansion of the Seasons Memory Facility. I have lived at 5 Greenleaf Drive for over 25 years and have loved this neighborhood. The commercial facility can purchase historic properties to expand their existing building and increase the profit margin at the expense of their neighbors is just wrong. They have not been good neighbors, as it is with intrusive, exceedingly bright lights surrounding the parking lot and shining into our bedrooms all night to dumpsters banging before 7 a.m. They have not been responsive to complaints regarding these issues. The strain, this increase in size at 33% on our limited natural resources is very concerning, i.e. water, sewer, electricity, traffic, roads. Please do all you can to stop this from happening. This is Julianne Fiore from 5 Greenleaf Drive. And finally, although we're not able to attend the zoning board meeting for tonight, we feel the need to voice our opinion on this subject. Our family moved to 6 Greenleaf Drive, which is in a beautiful, relatively quiet, peaceful neighborhood. When we moved here a decade ago, we knew it would be where we wanted to be. It is our hope that it will always remain this way. Whatever goes on with the nursing home, we see, hear, and feel. I can be anything from dump trucks, deliveries, and repairs, etc. Now we are fearful that all this will go into worse if expansion is allowed to take place. They strongly oppose. Anna and Robert DeRocha, 6 Greenleaf Drive.
I am gonna open it up to public comment as well, but we're gonna take a 5-minute recess. Everybody good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll be back in 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, so we read 3 public letters in. We received a 4th, but I believe that person's here, so he's welcome to come up and speak. But I am now going to open it up to public comment on 42 and 44 Summer Street. If you could just raise your hand and I'll have you come up.
The neighbors go first.
Yeah. Mr. Bradstreet, hold on. Was there someone else who wanted to speak? Yeah. Yeah.
I can read it if you don't want to speak.
Yeah, we just got it. We found it.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
We have a 4th letter, Attorney McCann.
This is from Doug and Carmen DeRocha, 6 Greenleaf Drive. We are direct abutters of 44 Summer Street and have been for over 12 years. We have spoken with our neighbors at 44 Summer and appreciate their willingness to communicate. We enjoy our wonderful residential neighborhood and neighbors, but have endured slamming dumpsters, early morning deliveries, and loud employee cars pulling in for work for years now. Expanding a grandfathered business would not improve in any way our once peaceful residential neighborhood. We should not be asked to bear with even more business-related disturbances. We are not in favor of this request for special permit.
Anyone else like to hear? Yes, Mr. Bradstreet.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I listened to some of your comments. I have the same concern that this structure will stand out, not exactly, but somewhat like the tower on 114. I don't think the neighbors need that. I certainly wouldn't like it, and I don't live there. So that's a concern I have, along with the noise problem that they all have to live with. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Yes, back there.
Good evening, Board. My name is Betsy Gadboys. I have kind of a twofold role. I'm a member, sitting member of the Historic District Commission. I'm also a neighbor at 12 Summer Street. I'm right down at the very end. I wanted to speak tonight because I feel as if things are a little bit out of order here with the integrity of this property. I was present at preservation. I did speak that night also. We have an active study committee in place in the Historic District Commission right now on the property and on the house itself. Richard Trask and Dan Gagnon and myself have been working quite hard on it, putting together the history and sort of revitalizing the integrity of the property. And to me, as one of the members of the study committee, part of the integrity is actually the lot itself and how the house sits. Beautiful presentation. I'm also a contractor's wife and a contractor's daughter. Beautiful job. However, it's completely squeezing out one of the 10 most historically significant properties I know I've ever been involved with in my life. And that I know that the neighbors who will speak feel the same way. I almost am reminded of the movie Up. I felt as if I wanted to add balloons to this home as it was being squeezed out to bring it up into the air as the city is built around it. It is indeed going to be quite visible from the public way. And I think even just from the simple sketch, you can see how much it encroaches upon the existing structure that is there. It is in disrepair, but we know in the historic world, those of us that love those things, that can be rectified.
Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else from the public like to speak? Right back there with the black shirt. I think black. You have to forgive my eyes.
Hi, my name is Sarah D'Antonio, and I'm a resident on Kenmore Drive, further up the area in the neighborhood. A few neighbors reached out and were sharing their concerns, and I definitely am here in support of our neighbors, and I don't think it's a benefit to our neighborhood. I don't think it's needed. It's a grandfathered property and usage, and I think that's great. Let's keep it that way. There's a lot more housing that already needed for families, and there are people that would take this property and do something with it if they could have had the chance to. So I don't support it, and I'd like to see it not supported for our neighborhood.
Very good, thank you. I think I saw another hand. Yeah, right, the lady with the glasses on her head. Yeah. I better get my other glasses.
Hi, my name's Marianne Owen. I'm actually at 36 Summer Street, so I'm right next to the actual facility as it is. I actually worked at that nursing home when I was a kid. So it was not all 4-bed rooms. It was double occupancy, which is a very common and normal situation for nursing homes. I've worked in healthcare all of my career, so between nursing homes and hospitals. So I just have a little bit more of a understanding of what they're talking about. I think that it's important to note that there are 10 nursing homes in the town of Danvers already, and I know that lots of people already say that the baby boomers and that there's a high population and a need, but I think that once that need hits its peak, which I think it's hitting that, what are we going to do with all of these facilities when the population then decreases significantly? Then our neighborhood is now stuck with 90 beds. And I will tell you that there are 911 calls every day that are answered. And so every day I have a fire truck, I have a police car, and I have an ambulance run past my house. And I can't tell you how disruptive that is, because it happens at any time that their need is. Because it's a memory care, their requirements for taking care of emergencies in-house is very different than a nursing home. So anything that they have an issue for has to be called out, and so the neighborhood has to deal with that. I think that if you are adding 30 more beds, you're adding 30 more potential calls to that nursing, to our home. Just, you know, as the other letters have said, they're loud and the garbage, and a lot of that is uncontrollable, and I understand that and I appreciate that. But also there's a smell to that. And so this heat wave, everybody smells that garbage because it permeates and it spreads. And there's really very little way to contain that, especially if now you're growing it. So the other thing with their plans and their drawings, those second-story windows will look out into my pool, into my backyard, and I lose all privacy that we have. So there are 7 people. We live in a ranch. We're the 1-story ranch. So, you know, the historical house that is there is far enough away from our property where there is no invasion of privacy, whereas their construct is basically peeking into everything that I do. And I think that I would appreciate it if that was considered. The other thing is you know, I don't find them to be positive or good neighbors. They have owned that house since January, and it is overgrown. You can't walk on the sidewalk. They have no intention of taking care of that historical home. I understand that they don't want to renovate it right now. They're under a lot of planning and they're trying to decide what they want to do, but that property is a mess. It looks terrible, and I know that nobody's living in the house, but there's somebody responsible for that land, and they have made zero effort and have made zero consideration of their neighbors. So, and I think that it's important that it's noted that they come around and they tell us that, well, if this doesn't get passed, we're gonna come up with a worse plan. And we're gonna make it worse. So, you know, I feel like there's a issue with the way that they are presenting their issues. So I just, you know, bigger is not always better, in my opinion. So, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, I'm gonna go way in the back.
Hi, Christine Clemens. I'm right across the street at 49 Summer Street. And I just want to follow up on that because I had a visit from one of the applicants the other day, kind of canvassing the neighborhood, seeing what the feel of the neighbors are. And I appreciated that I got some information, and he very pleasantly provided the presentation that we saw tonight. But there was an undertone of what was going on. And the first thing was not so much that we need the space in Danvers for the extra rooms. It was, we're trying to make a go of this business, which I totally understand. Every business wants to make a go of their business, but we're not making it. We need the extra space to make our business go. And if we don't make it a go, who knows what's going to go into that? Who knows what's going to go? It was almost like a veiled threat. You don't know what's going to happen with that property if we can't make a go of our business. And that's what struck me the wrong way. And I'm going to follow up with everyone with the noise and the lights and the fire engines and all that. But that was the thing that bothered me the most.
Very good, thank you. I'm right there, yeah, no, yeah.
My name's Jen Lovell. I'm at 43 Summer Street, directly across from the house. And I love where we live and I love our neighborhood, but in looking across the street at the house, we've seen it sort of deteriorate over the years and whatnot, but I'd rather see that than see a two-story, you know, addition to this nursing home. And like what everyone has said too, we hear it, we see it, you know, it's loud. Every night I'm like, oh, there's the fire engines, there's the ambulance, you know, numerous times throughout the day, and that's just what I see. So it just doesn't have that neighborhood feel, and I feel like adding in 30 more beds would just take away so much more from, you know, a busy street as it is. We have 2 schools already on that street. You know, St. John's Prep is a very busy street, very busy school as it is, bringing all that traffic up already and then adding in, you know, the addition to the nursing home. I just feel like it's taking away from where we all live in our, you know, our neighborhood. And another thing too is that I often notice, looking out my window, there's the staff sort of right in front of the house smoking, so they're obviously not allowed to smoke on property, so then they then go into the neighborhoods to do that, which, you know, maybe they need to designate a spot on the property as is, but I just feel like that's just gonna be that much worse, adding in another 30 beds. So just wanted to voice my concerns, where obviously my husband and I are very much against this and would support, you know, love for you to support everyone in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Additional comments, new points? All right, okay.
Good evening. My name is Anthony Brogner. I live at 17 Seneca Drive, which, when you leave Seneca to get to Summer Street, that's my greeting every morning, is the memory care facility. And I've been there about 10 years now. It's not the worst sight to see when I leave, but I just don't think I need to see anything bigger. A lot of the neighbors have voiced their concern about noise. I tend to hear noises as well, but I'm also surrounded by another facility behind me, and I get it. I've got the hospital up on the hill behind me. I hear that noise, same thing. We've got it at the end of the street now. I just don't see it getting any better. And I think if it doesn't go forward, it might benefit the community a little bit better, or at least our neighborhood. They did mention having a place for the community members when they get older to be at, but I don't really think it's going to be just for Danvers residents as they get older and need nursing care. It sounds like it's going to be whoever's got the money. So it'd be nice if it was for our local community, but I just don't think they could ever guarantee that. So I am against the project.
Thank you. Additional comment, yeah, where are you back? Yeah.
I get brave when a whole bunch of people have gotten up to speak. My name's Maureen Larrabee. Jim and I live at 7 College Pond Drive, so we are going to be severely and directly impacted by the sewer project next summer, as in right down the side of our yard. And from what we have been told, that is going to run somewhere on the order of 3 months. And to now have this in my backyard is sort of like more than I can take. We have a lovely screen porch on the back of the yard. We can't sit out there because when their air conditioning units go on the roof, the noise is ungodly. We have called every summer. They, yeah, and nothing ever happens. The other thing is I am just flummoxed as to how every Wednesday morning, without fail, they start up their lawnmowers for the memory care unit, and in the period of time that this LLC has owned 42 Summer Street, that it hasn't occurred to anyone to go out there with those pieces of lawn equipment and cut down the lawn that's 4 feet high, particularly given the drought situation in the town, and you've got employees outside smoking or people driving by, chucking a cigarette out a window. That's all. But I would reiterate too, every letter from the Greenleaf Drive residents about the noise, the smell, the lack of good neighbor. I am in total agreement.
Good, thank you. Any additional comments? Oh, sorry, right here.
Hi, I'm Gail Eaton. I live at 40 Summer Street. I just wanted to check with the board to see if everybody has gone past the property recently, because I also brought pictures if you haven't. So has everybody passed by there recently? So you're aware of the condition of everything? Because in the past, the levels across the street, Charlie Hannigan, who also lives at 40 Summer Street, have gone up and cut on their own, just trimmed it to make it look presentable when the former owner wasn't capable of doing so, and plowing and helping out on the sidewalk. And Bill also has helped with the fire hydrant too in the snow. So we're a little surprised that, as a gesture of good faith, might have done something, you know, before now. So I just wanted to double check, because I did have photos. Thank you.
Very good, thank you.
Reiterated agreed with all the other statements.
So you're not in favor?
That's all right. That's all true, what we've observed as well. Thank you.
Anyone else on this matter? Attorney McCann, would you like to try to respond to some of that? I know we're looking probably at continuing this based on what you laid out earlier. Your opportunity here to.
Well, I appreciate Mr. Bradstreet, but this is not going to be a 10-story building. However, that being said, I like the public hearing process. It's important. It's important to hear all of this. I've taken notes, as I always do. My clients are taking notes, and this gives us an opportunity to address things that are certainly, much of which has been brought up, can be within their control to address. And so we'll be talking about that prior to the next meeting. We will gather information with regard to traffic, with regard to 911 calls, so that we can provide you with that information. And some heights, the height of the existing historic building, et cetera. So,
Can some upkeep be addressed onto 42 currently? or we
I am
just-
sure it will be addressed.
Sounds like that's a very solvable problem.
It's a very solvable problem, and it should be solved, and so I suspect that that's going to happen pretty quickly. So what I would like to do is request a continuance until your meeting of August 22nd. And we will have answers to some of these questions. I think you'll see some improvements, certainly to the outsides of the buildings, and we'll certainly be talking with the operators, the day-to-day operators, with regard to addressing some of these concerns that are very legitimate neighborhood concerns to be addressed.
And just to be clear, so you're in front of the planning board tomorrow night for this A&R request?
We are in front of the planning board tomorrow night simply for the A&R. That is not technically a public hearing. It is a public meeting, but it is simply to endorse the plan, which shows frontage on Summer Street, which is all that is. But then we would request a continuance of this hearing, which is the special permit and finding, so that it will be heard together with the variance hearing, which is being advertised for August 22nd.
Okay.
I
All right.
move we continue to August 22nd.
I have
I
a
will
motion to
second.
continue and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we'll see you.
Thank you very much.
August 22nd. All right, and I believe we have
One more case.
one more case.
Our final case is 31 North Shetland Road, zoned R2. Request for variance after the fact from Table 2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow a new 24-foot by 28-foot garage with a rear setback of 8.9 feet where 10 feet was originally granted. Request is made by Nathan DeHoyos, docket 22-4988.
Good evening.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you? Tired, I bet.
Last time you were before us, we were virtual, if I remember.
Yeah, that was me, the homeowner. I'm Cliff Gast.
Okay. Well, tell us what happened, because it seems like we had a misfire here.
Yeah, we had a dull pencil. Well, I guess there were a lot of factors once it came into play for this. We had a lot of rain. The excavator and I were doing our best to lay out all the points for the garage, and it was that one corner that we were off. We thought we gave an extra foot, but apparently we were off by about a foot. And there's, as you can see on the property lines, I don't know if you drove by it, throughout the entire neighborhood, it's surrounded by fences, all the houses. So we went based off the fence the neighbor had put in to divide the property line between 31 North Shetland and the backyard, which they had put up anywhere from 10 to 15 years ago. And so that seems to be the point that we had missed in that upper right corner there at the 8.9.
Okay. So you're saying,
The original plan was approved.
I guess, Mr. Gass, all right, so do you have anything else you want to add, or
No, we don't.
will we fire away here? I think what troubles me on this one is I went back and looked at the minutes from March 29th and also, I think, the follow-up meeting in April. And we specifically brought up that rear setback. And many of the board members were okay with the side setback being closer, but not the rear setback. And I don't know how we're here, because we were real clear that we were not gonna give that setback in the rear, but yet you ended up right at it. So, again, I'm just going off of minutes that we have from those dates. I'm gonna turn it over to the board for questions, but I just don't understand how we had something earlier tonight, it was a couple of inches, but this is not that, so, I guess,
Be able to ask
Yeah.
Georgia if she has the original
Do you-
plan
do you
that
have
we
the-
approved?
this is the original.
This is This is the approved plan. I can also pull up the original plan that Mr. Gass submitted that requested a 7.5 setback.
It's difficult to see
Can you
the,
zoom that at all?
It's 10 feet, right?
Yeah, it's
10
always
feet.
10 feet. And that's what
That's the approved plan that goes with the ZBA variance. And this is the as-built.
that agrees with the minutes that I read, so.
and you have what they originally,
Yeah, I'll just need a minute to pull that up, showing the 7.
thank
All right,
you.
well, while she's doing that, why don't I'll start down there with you, Jeff.
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Want me to wait?
Yes, please.
Okay. Ken?
I don't have any questions.
So what exactly happened? How did you guys miscalculate?
Well, the excavator and I last January, during all the rain storms that we were having, were laying string lines and trying to get the exact points. And we had measured off of the property fence from the neighbor. But then afterwards, I had grown very concerned because of the shape of the lot, and I ran to the building inspector to get some advice, and he said to go to get the as-built and have them reshoot it and do an as-built for you. So I went and had that done, and that's when we saw that, okay, it wasn't at the 10, it was at the 8.9.
Okay.
So, and that was already.
Yeah, because
Not
that's
factor.
sort of, it's a lot off. Yeah. Okay. That's all. I have no other questions.
I can't see that.
Is that, can you read that number to us?
Yes, so that says 7 feet 6 inches, and that was the plan submitted with the original application.
The back corner on the right, excuse me.
Yes.
Through you, Mr. Chair.
Yes.
7?
7 feet 6 inches.
Okay, so it was originally proposed 7 feet 6, and then it was
And then it was a-
changed to 10.
And then the board requested 10,
Okay.
that the applicant make changes to provide at least 10, which they had, and this is the plan that was approved. And then the as-built shows 8.9.
Okay. So, can I ask a question?
yeah.
Okay. So, when you went to construct this, did you have the surveyor mark the corners of where that new structure was going to be?
So the surveyor had come out after the foundation had been poured because of all of the rain had prevented the excavator from getting his backhoe, and it became a tense period, and he started to fill. So I ran to Jim and asked him, because he never made it out there to do any measurements and check anything, and then he said to call David Terrazano and have him do a survey for the as-built.
This was after it was built. But I'm saying before you did the digging of the foundation, did you have somebody mark the corners that were, show where 10 feet was? No. I just, my comment would be to you that fences are often not on lot lines. They can be off by a foot, 2 feet. People just put fences up. It has nothing to do with the lot line. So, I would have hoped that somebody would have told you that you really can't rely on a fence for your measurement. So, same thing, you can't rely on a mortgage plot plan, which can be off by as much as 5 feet. That's why you use a surveyor. Okay.
No additional.
No.
Okay. All right. Ken, you're good?
Yes.
Kareem?
I'm all set, thank you.
Yeah, I think I echo the questions that Becky had, is why? Permits aren't required for fences. People often put them where they think the property line is, so. It's just, again, I go back to the minutes, and I don't know if I'm hearing an answer except that you had already poured the foundation.
Yeah, I guess the fence being higher than 6 feet, I assumed it's always been 6 feet higher than you would get a permit for the fence.
All right, well, I'll go, any additional questions? I'll go out to the public. Anyone here want to speak on, this is 31 North Shetland, Drive. Yeah.
I'm Sylvain DeMarco. I'm the next door neighbor, 33 North Shetland. The garage looks beautiful. It doesn't bother me. It's only, I don't even know how many feet it is from my fence. I have no issues with it.
It's 8.9.
No,
I hope.
No, he's on the side. He's
Oh,
on the
okay.
side.
I think it's less than that.
No, it's 8, I think it's 8.9 on that side.
It's 8.9 from mine. I have no issues with it at all. The other thing is, if you look at the lot, the way the lot is, how many feet is it from there? 12 feet? Now, and it's an 8.9. I don't know if you have a hard time about it, then I would move to cancel 38 North Belgium that you approved today at 7.5 feet. And now you're giving a hard time at 8.9.
Well, I don't know if I would class it as we're giving a hard time. We're trying.
I'm just saying.
We're trying to understand where the mistake happened here.
Yeah, the other one is 7.5, so I wouldn't even ask questions. I am okay with it.
You
It's
don't
all
have an issue
built.
with it?
It's all built, looks good. They did a great job, and all the neighborhood loves it. So.
Thank you. Any additional comments from the public on 31 North Shetland Road? Yes, Mr. Bradstreet.
Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member Precinct 1. One of the things that attending several meetings bothers me is when someone has a project and it's as close as this appears to be, that they don't, in some cases they guess or whatever, presume, that they don't have a surveyor come out, survey the property, give them figures that they can work with, stake it out, leave the stakes, so if anybody comes, they can see it's not 18 feet, it's 8 feet. That's if the stakes are left after the surveyor does his job. I just find it very disappointing that some people, me included, assume too much. And if you assume too much, it can come back and bite you.
Thank you. Anyone else here on 31? All right, I will come back to the board for deliberation. I think I started with you, Jeff.
What choice do we have, I guess I will vote for this.
Yes?
Yes.
Becky?
I'm going to say that I would vote for this because it's a 15-foot setback, rear and side, and we often go half, and so we're still within that half. And, you know, I'm disappointed that we're dealing with this, but I will vote for it.
Thank you, Becky. Ken?
And I am too disappointed. You know, we approve things for a reason. And to your point, different lots are different shapes, different sizes, different, it's different things. So we, even though you know, you thought we shouldn't have approved that other one, totally different situation. It's a totally different lot, different size. I don't like that he went to this.
This is our deliberation.
I don't like that he went to the 8.9, even though it was a mistake, but I will approve it.
Thank you, Ken. And Ken?
Yeah, I'll approve it as well. It's a mistake. Mistakes happen. It's not that bad, but you know, I mean, next time I guess just measure better. But yeah, I would approve that.
Thank you, Ken. And Corinne?
I will vote for this.
Thank you, Corinne. I'm going to be the one dissenting vote on this. I am troubled that we went to the trouble to detail this. You still have the votes to have it passed, but I think in good conscience, especially after reading the minutes, knowing how much time we spent on this rear setback, I think you heard the other board members' points about how important it is to work with the surveyor and mark the property and not assume fence lines are correct. So I am a no on this, but you do have the votes. It will pass, and I hope future people that come before us do a better job of this. Could I get a motion, please?
I move to issue a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow an existing 24 by 28 garage with a side setback of 8.9 feet where 15 feet is required, as shown on the plans provided by the applicant.
That's it.
Wait, do you want, what about the rear?
So we'll reference the as-built plan for the, is that what you meant?
But don't we need
it just says
a
side.
variance for the rear?
So this is the variance for the rear. The variance for the side was approved at 7.5, but he built further from that. So there's there's nothing needed on
So-
That should be a rear setback, I guess.
It's just the rear setback.
say
So this
side,
says
though.
side.
Sorry, it should say rear.
Okay.
That's my fault.
I'm sorry. All right. So let me just read this again.
Start again.
I move to
Sorry.
issue a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow an existing 24 by 28 garage with a rear setback of 8.9 feet, where 15 feet is required as shown on the plans provided by the applicant. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment, can't talk anymore, to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I have a motion
I will second that.
and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. All
Enjoy
right.
your garage.
got it.
It looks nice. I went out there.
Motion to adjourn. Unless there's anything else from you,
So
Georgia?
moved.
I'll second that.
You got a motion, a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Good night. Good luck.
Good night.